2025 is approaching and it's around the corner. A lot of things are happening. Businesses are rounding up the year. Profits, P&Ls are being discussed. Books are being reviewed. People are getting fired. Boards are changing. A lot of decisions are occurring and are happening. You're welcome to Sparksandblues, the podcast where we talk to you about real life stories, real life situations, and we're able to inspire our viewers and our youths. We also bring on board experienced professionals, business leaders who are succeeding in their chosen fields to talk to you about diverse topics, prevailing work landscapes, private lives, personal lives. And then we hope that everyone watching gets inspired, and in particular, the youths get inspired. Thank you very much for those of you that have subscribed thus far. And we look forward to those of you who are just joining. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel, like our comments, and also share so that your loved ones can also be aware of what we're doing here and also get inspired and learn one or two things. We'd also appreciate you to drop comments, which we'll usually respond to as swiftly as possible. Today, our topic is corporate burnout, the causes, and how you can come out of it in the new year 2025. So yes, this is going to be quite brief, but it's important that you would throw more light on what is going on in the corporate space. A lot of people are going through severe burnouts corporately and probably do not know what to do or how to navigate, those areas. 2025 is approaching and it's around the corner. A lot of things are happening. Businesses are rounding up the year. Profits, P&Ls are being discussed. Books are being reviewed. People are getting fired. Boards are changing. A lot of decisions are occurring and are happening. People are getting affected in different ways. People are concerned, worried about what's going to happen to my job. Do I still have my job in January, in Q1? Q1 business reviews are going to happen. A lot of things, retreats, people are getting fired. Different things are happening. Jobs are changing. People are, of course, because people are getting fired, people are also on the other flip side getting new roles and are moving. So now I'm going to be putting more light on this topic. There's a lot of pressure out there, which is the truth, but then there are ways through which you can still go through these things without necessarily being, taking part in this burnout that we're talking about. First of all, it's important that you are real, you are true to yourself. And these days, I have quite a number of human resource people that are close to me, and I hear things like people get sort of promoted beyond their capacity, or people sort of tactfully or in a smart way take on roles that are beyond their capacity. I think that is the first recipe for you to experience the corporate burnout we're talking about. So for example, everybody these days wants to earn a lot, or they want to be on probably big roles, the big titles, the C-suite and all of that, which is good. The feeling is usually really nice for everybody. However, are you qualified? However, do you have what it takes to drive through those lanes? Do you have the capacity to meet up with what is expected on the big names, on the big on the big seats, all those big roles? So it's not just enough for you to put up a CV and sort of find a tactful way to sort of pull through an interview and then assume that is all that is needed. That is just you opening the door into the big role. Now, are you able to drive through? So what happens is, getting into those big roles, people meet with what I would term shockers, business shockers, and they begin to experience this burnout. And then there's this running helter-skelter, and people usually would not know what to do. I know that for people who are qualified, who have what it takes to sit on the big roles, usually they deliver, and for some reasons they're able to escape this corporate burnout we're talking about. Why? They've passed through the ropes, they've passed through the stairs, they've put in the work over the years, so they are experienced enough to know when to pipe low, to know how to navigate things, and they sort of do a lot of things, like they delegate accurately and properly. So it's not enough to jump at the word delegation. Are you delegating accurately? Are you delegating properly? Are you delegating effectively to prevent you from experiencing corporate burnout? So these are like the basics and the initial things you need to do when you occupy those big seats. Those big seats, like I said earlier, are beautiful and everybody wants to sit there. But have you got what it takes to drive on those lanes? Have you got what it takes to sit on those seats and be successful at what you do? The moment you don't have the capacity to occupy a big seat, but you are so interested in occupying it, trust me, you are going to be overwhelmed with the corporate burnout. And these are the people we are talking about today that we want to discuss, because we are progressing and moving into 2025. We trust God that we are all alive in good health, and we believe so by faith. Now, what are you doing regarding your burnout? Is your burnout so huge that you are now sort of overwhelmed, confused, and you don't really know how to approach your Q1? What are your figures looking at? What are your budgets looking at? Looking like? Are you seeing the figures you are being given, or that are suggested to you by management as things you can deal with? Or you're already overwhelmed even before 2025 and feeling already sort of irritated, or what's the word now? Shaky, scared, indecisive about how to navigate these figures or these targets. It means that even before 2025 comes in, you're already experiencing burnouts. Now, what are you supposed to do about these things? But if you're already there, occupying a big seat, going through this severe burnout, struggling with targets, struggling with what 2025 looks like, struggling with what Q1 is going to look like, for me, I think you should rather look inwards and speak realistically to yourself, because it's not enough to say you want to hold on to the big roles. You need to be able to do what it takes to stay there. Because if you do not, what corporations do is to kick you out, and nobody wants to start the year with such experiences. So I would rather advise that you look inwards, and if you're a bit offered probably some compromises, why not? Swallow your pride and shift a little bit towards what is being put before you so that you can succeed. It's not enough for you to grab everything when indeed within yourself you are aware that you don't have what it takes to do these things. Let go of certain things. If you are holding on to too much, release some, work with your capacity. Tell yourself that you be truthful to yourself. Do not rather rely or keep holding on to your ego. Be truthful to yourself. This is 2025. Do you have what it takes to hold on to these big roles? Do you have what it takes to sit on those big chairs? If you know you do not, tell yourself the truth. Begin to step down on certain things. Yeah, it may look, not so nice, or what would people say? But I think it's important that you let go of the what will people say thing and be realistic to yourself. Let go of certain areas you are holding on to in the organization so that you can focus more and channel your real energy, your reality to what it can deliver. Holding on to big roles and not delivering it's a no-no in corporate organizations, and I believe that is where the corporate burnout starts from. Because really, if you know your onions, you're on top of your game, aside from the technical aspects of your job, you would understand leadership, you would understand people management, you would understand team management, and you'll be able to bring all these things together, to get results, basically. Because what causes this corporate burnout we are talking is when you are failing at delivering results. And then it looks as though management or the board, depending on the level you're operating at, is sort of, stressing you out, and then you are overwhelmed and you begin to experience this burnout. So what I'll be telling us today is that with all what is flying around, this is December, 2025 is just around the corner. A lot is definitely going on in different organizations, in your organization. If you're at the top, if you're a top guy, a top lady, a lot is going on. And how are you involved with this? Are you currently doing well enough to be sure that your Q1 is looking brilliant? Or you are aware that you are not doing well, but you're holding on to faith? I don't think that's enough. It's important that you are realistic, telling yourself the truth and know what you are doing. Now, if you feel or you are aware or you know that you're already on the firing line because of poor performance, rather than struggling with the corporate burnouts and overwhelming yourself, I think you should be true to yourself to step aside and think critically about your next steps. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially if you've been, someone working properly on your, financial status, so you don't get stranded. It's not enough to just hold on to roles solely because you need your finances to be sorted. It's important that you are handling the roles. It's important that you are in control. Once you're in control of a big seat, a big role, trust me, the burnout thing is not going to be your lot. The major thing that causes this corporate burnout is poor performance, inability to deliver, low capacity versus big roles, like a round, peg in a square hole, because you were probably smart to get those roles, and you can't run away from the burnout. If you're doing things right, then the right seats, the right roles, despite them being big roles, and you have the capacity to occupy those roles, trust me, even when there's so much work to be done, which we're all aware of, you will still not experience burnout. Why? Because you would already have the capacity to handle severe situations, extreme situations. And from my own experience, I can tell that going through severe experiences, or let me say harsh conditions on your job as a top person is not constant. It's important that we say the truth. It's not something that happens 24/7. So there's usually a season where it's usually very tough, and there's a period where, that's just even how the universe is. That's how God also created it. It's not like 24/7 you are totally and grossly overwhelmed. That's not it. So you need to create a balance. Meanwhile, you're able to only create a balance when you're in control. You are only able to be in control when you've got capacity to give. So these things, are like stages and in phases. It's important that you know what you're doing. You are not occupying the wrong seat. If you occupy the wrong seat, tell yourself the truth and do the right thing, rather than stressing it, forcing it, going through the burnouts and screaming that you are experiencing burnout. Most burnouts that people experience corporately, especially at the top levels, are just due to the fact that they are round holes in square pegs. So I challenge you today to begin to look inwards. If you have these challenges, you're experiencing severe burnout, look inwards. You don't have to hold on forcefully to roles, to positions. Yes, I know it's tough, but then you will be incredibly surprised at what thinking deeply can give you, as against holding forcefully to things you probably you don't qualify for, you don't have the capacity to deal, yet you want to hold on to these things, and then you are burning out, you don't know what to do. 2025 is around the corner. You are afraid of the next quarterly business review in March, or probably in January, depending. You are afraid of the next board meeting. You are just overwhelmed. All these things are not going to help you. For me to talk about my experience, I started interacting with boards about 4 to 5 years ago, and trust me, the initial experiences were not easy, but then they were not born out of performance issues. They were born out of being new to the terrains and the stories we hear. But as soon as I got a hang of it, I knew what I was doing, because usually I will not take on roles that I do not qualify for, because I don't just sort of jump. I'm strategic about my movements, and when I'm moving roles, I'm aware that I'm qualified for this role. I defend it and I take it, and when I take it, when I'm given a seat at the table, I occupy my seat properly, I sit properly, and I do the needful. So for me, yes, there's corporate burnout. It's true. It's the way it happens. I'm aware of it, but I cannot tell you that I'm going through it or I've experienced it. Why? Because I've always been in charge of my space, of my roles, and of my seat. Yes, not just by my power. The grace of God is definitely evident, and I can't play that down because I don't have all what it takes. But then I've been able to sit properly at the seat that I was given. And to summarize, those were the things, or let me say, the strategies that helped me not to get the corporate burnout. What are you doing today about yours? What's your plan for 2025? This is me speaking to the top guys, the C-suite people that report to boards, people that report to top management, executives, ESCOs. What are you guys doing? Businesses are challenged. I don't know what it is at your corner or in your side, what the conversations are looking like, but then you need to tell yourself the truth. What are you doing? What do you need to do to better things at your organization? Are you currently overwhelmed about the scared about the fact that 2025 is around the corner and a lot of business conversations are going to be taking place in the first 3 months? What are you doing about these things rather than staying and being? I am quite what's the word now, sort of excited about Q1 because I'm doing my work and I'm able to deliver up on the promise that I'm giving to my employers. So really, that is what I have for you guys today. Thank you very much, guys, for listening.